Hi and welcome to Spill the Tea with LLIB. I'm Cal.
And I'm Claire.
And together we founded the incredible platform that is Leading Ladies in Business, a platform that inspires and supports female business women across the globe.
And in this episode of Spill the Tea with LLIB, we have the specialist recruiter, Kerry Swift.
So, spill the tea on what the journey as a woman in business has been like for you so far.
God, how do you explain that?
Where do we start?
I'd most probably have to backtrack a little bit.
Let's backtrack.
Yeah, in that I've done recruitment for 20 odd years. Feel really old saying that. And for years, I'd say like 10 years prior, I'd always wanted to set up and go on my own because I'd always worked for bigger multinational agencies. And I just never had the confidence to do it. Just never had that confidence to do it. None of my family had run their own businesses. My mum and dad's really traditional in how they'd been brought up. Yeah. My dad would have a fit initially going, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? You know? So yeah, I'd say the journey to get there is I'd always wanted to do it, but never had the confidence to do it. And then I think you just have a situation sometimes where it's like, I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do it. And my main factor was my family, my young son. You know, I'd always feel like he was the first in school and the last in school, and I had mum guilt, and I just felt like time was going really fast and I wasn't there. And you know, and not just that, I also felt like I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a plan. I felt a little bit lost. I hit 40 and I felt a little bit lost. And then I was kind of not forced into it, but my husband gave me a kick up the arse and was like, come on, you can do it. But what I was really surprised at of setting up on my own was the goodwill and the kindness out there of people that want you to succeed. And, you know, I was going to set up on my own, and someone who worked, we had a friend who ran her own recruitment agency, and she said, speak to Claire, you know, have a chat with her. And she was like, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And I said, well, what about if I have a month where nothing happens or there's no business coming in? And she went, you won't. I was like, oh, what about this and what about that? And she was like, just go for it. So the journey getting there was lack of self-confidence and belief in myself that I couldn't do it.
Yeah. So was there like a pivotal moment where you thought, I'm going to go for it?
Like, what was that
situation? Was there a moment that you was like, I can't not?
It was my husband, and then it was also my mum and dad saying, we'll back you. We'll, like, you know, if you need any support or you need any help. And my mum and dad were so proud. And without boring you, in recruitment, there's this business model where there's external investors that can set you up if you haven't got the capital to initially start. But then they take a percentage of your income, like forever, basically. So my mum and dad were like, don't do that. We'll support you. We'll back you. And I think it was that. But then I worked that first year to pay them every penny back.
Yeah.
Like every penny back. But my mum and dad were like so proud. They didn't even ask any questions about it. It was just like, do it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
For people who are really traditional, that's the biggest vote of confidence, isn't it?
But I felt scared at that, and I had a big weight on my shoulders that I had to, because you know, my mum and dad haven't got loads of money, that I had to work really hard for that. So that gave me the fire that I had to do it. And also my husband was supporting me as well. I think the biggest shock, and I don't know whether it's a woman thing, is because my husband was also financially supporting me initially in those first 12 months where, you know, you don't take a wage out the business. I struggled with that.
Yeah.
I'd always had my own money. I'd always, you know, could book a holiday when I wanted, and that I struggled. But he sat me down one day and said, we've been together for years. He said, get over yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a partnership.
Yeah.
Just do it.
That's amazing.
Wow.
So that was
what a family.
Yeah. I'm dead proud. And my mum and dad are dead proud of me. And my mum got me to one side and she was like, you know, you can pay it back whenever you want. There's no rush. And I was like, no, I've got to do it. So their support really helped.
And I suppose fired you forwards as well, because there wasn't that, there was no option to fail, was there?
No.
Because you had to pay that money back. In your head, you had to pay that money back, and it had to be a success, not for you, but so that you didn't let them down, which often I think can be, as a woman, a really good motivator, because it's not about you, and because we're very self-deprecating, aren't we? A lot of us, oh well, if I only make £100, it's fine. Like I can live on that, or I can sort that. If you've got that external motivator of family and having to pay something back, then that can be really.
He didn't
powerful.
expect me to do that, but that was because. I've never asked anybody for anything. I'm quite an independent person. I always have been. So that was me motivating. And then also, I think for my son, because I think I've come from a traditional setup and nobody's ran their own business in our family, is also to show him as a woman that I can be successful as well. And that it's just, Mum just doesn't work in the office. Not that there's nothing wrong with that, but I think that was another motivator, is to show him as well. You can be a strong female and run your own business.
I love that.
So,
Incredible. I think that was one of the things that I thought when I set up initially by myself, even before Leading Ladies. I'd come from teaching and a teaching background, and I wanted to show the children that even if you've trained in something and been to university, and if that no longer serves you, you can move. Like, you can be brave enough to move. You're never stuck anywhere. You're not a tree. You're not rooted in anything, and you can move, and that's okay. Because there's such a tradition, isn't there, that we stay rooted in one job forever. And that was my dad, you're a teacher, that's what you do, you've got a degree, what do you mean you're going to give up your pension? Like, no, like, we don't have to stay stuck in something that no longer serves us, and we can move and try different things and reinvent almost.
I think it depends where you are in your life at that moment in time as well. My husband always says, you should have done it like 10 years earlier, but not really, because I wasn't as confident, then. We didn't have the financial backing, my son would have been really small. So I just think timing sometimes is a big thing. And luck. I know we make our own luck, but
do.
a bit of luck
absolutely
gets us through as well.
So it sounds like it's been amazing for you so far, but there are challenges, obviously, that we overcome in business. Sometimes we don't overcome them, and we're just still in the challenge as we move forward. So what's your biggest challenge that you've faced, and have you got any advice of how you came over that challenge?
A couple, really. I think my inner critic. And I don't know whether it's a woman thing. I think men most probably have it as well. I don't know whether it's a working class thing. Not sure. But I definitely say the inner critic. And always that, is this going to last? Kind of like, things are going really well at the moment. But it's luck. Well, it's most probably not. It's hard work. But, in your head, I've got here by luck. So I think it's that inner critic that's always on the shoulder, or always, giving you that negative talk. I think I'm working really hard at that, but I think it's always going to be there.
100%.
It drives me at times, but it can hold me back as well. And linked with that, and when COVID, so my business, I was a year in my business, and then COVID hit. I was lucky. I'd worked really, really hard in that first year, but even so, the world changed, didn't it?
100%.
It kind of changed, and I started comparing myself against other people, and it looked like everybody was doing really, really well, and I learned really, really quickly. People just fake it sometimes 100%. Just to, social media, living my best life. There were some recruiters out there claiming, they were still handling, loads of jobs. And my friend in recruitment, who was my first manager, she contacted me and said, how's it going? And I said, it's gone, it's gone flat. Our industry just went flat. And she said, what about all these people posting? And yet to the comparison. And I remember saying to her, keep in our own lane. and ignore it. But I wasn't listening to my own advice.
Yeah.
I'm good at giving advice to other people. So I'd say I've got better at the comparison.
Yeah.
And I'm in my own lane.
Yeah.
But I think the comparison and the inner critic and the negative talk in the head doesn't do you any favours.
It's so funny saying that. Like, we do compare ourselves, a lot, especially to social media and what we see. But one of the things about our network is I don't think we've ever had time to look at any other networking platforms and ever compare ourselves. That's the only thing I can say in my life that I've never gone, oh, well, I wish I was like that, or wish I'd got that, or look at them, or look. Like, I don't think we've ever stopped and gone, oh, they're doing really, really well. What are they doing that we can do? Like, I think we've just always been that swamped. We've never seen, we try and come off social media as soon as we've done our posts.
I think it's good. And I think because I came from the bigger multinational agencies, it was always drilled into you that the competition was the enemy all the time. But actually, I collaborate with a few of my fellow recruiters. Like, we don't work in a similar space. So we'll refer vacancies to each other, or we'll help each other. Yeah. As I said, one of them was my very first boss in recruitment, and we're still really, really good friends. And we, support each other more from a morale point of view as well. Yeah. So I think I've learned you can collaborate, and I've learned your competition can actually help you. They're not the enemy.
Yeah. Oh, I'll second that, definitely.
Always. And I think if we get over that myth that there's, especially women, clawing their way to the top and stepping over people, that's just not what we found at all.
No, we have so many people asking, is it just one niche? Is it one niche at the networking event? Is it one? No. And you can't just have the one niche, because who do you go to for support then?
Especially industry-specific support when you've got those same problems, that are going on at the same time. We wouldn't necessarily be able to support with that, but having the same industry in the same space, connecting is really valuable.
It does. I done a lot of work post-COVID on why I do what I do. And I know it's really cliched, your why. Right? It is really cliched. But I done a little bit of work with somebody on it. I cried at my first session with them because of what my why was. And it was, it made me realise you have to dig a little bit deep. Yeah. And then as a result of that, I then started to think about, well, what are my values? What are important to me? And strangely, my values in life are the same in business. And I think in the recruitment industry, and I've been in those environments where it's KPI driven, it's all about the revenue, it's all about the money, it's all about bringing in that commission. And I used to struggle with that at times, and you can be kind in business. So my values they're really important to me in business. My loyalty is a big one for me.
Huge.
It's massive. And if people are loyal to me, I give that back in spades. And there's times I'm most probably soft, and there's times I most probably lose business, or I do stuff for nothing that I don't charge to do, because it's about the long-term relationships. I've got some clients that have worked with me for 15, 20 years.
Wow. Yeah.
So for me, it's and I feel like I can pick and choose those people I want to work with, and their values have got to be similar to mine. That's really important to me in business.
Yeah.
And it's not a cop-out.
No.
I honestly believe that from my heart.
That. Yeah.
I think there's an incredible number of women now who are out there doing business differently, because we're wired differently. And I think women are very, very relational and nurturing, and have a lot of the time kindness at the core of what they do, which sometimes means that you undervalue yourself, and sometimes means that you get taken advantage of a little bit. But ultimately, I think there's this whole other way of doing business that's emerging, that's not cutthroat, that's not like clambering, that's not like striving, that's just different.
100%. And I think in my industry, it's the listening piece that people miss.
Yeah.
It's all about, give me the vacancy. I want to fill a job. But they miss the listening piece. They miss the going out to the business, understanding what they're about, their culture, putting that time in, finding out what they're really about, using those softer skills.
Yeah.
And it is missing. And I think as women, I don't want to say we're better at it. Sorry, I'm not a man hater. But, I'm not saying we're better at it, but I do think there's a space for that. I think you're right. And
I think as women, we've had to listen.
Yeah.
I think we've just had to. I think it's something that's come from generation after generation. Like, a woman's place was to listen. And again, we say it at networking events, men get a lot of airtime. And they do get a lot of airtime. And that's not a hating thing. That's just something that we've allowed generation after generation. And now it's time that we're claiming that back. You're absolutely right.
Because when I come from the bigger agencies, you don't do networking as such on a smaller scale locally. But obviously I dipped my toe and thought I'll go out there, set up on my own. And I was really intimidated at first. I didn't have my voice.
Yeah.
That little critic, that imposter syndrome. I'm not even running my own business. I even think that now.
Yeah.
I think I'm just like, I said to my husband the other day, I don't even see myself as a business owner. I was like, you for real?
Oh, it's unreal, isn't
You've
it?
been
Claire
running your
says
business for
sometimes
4
about,
years.
People who work for us and oh God, you're the boss. And I go, oh, no, I'm not the boss. Like, we're all working together. I couldn't do it without anyone. Oh, no.
Yeah, and I think, it was daunting. I'm so much more confident now. And it was, there was a lot of networks out there that were very, very male orientated and I felt quite intimidated. But I think once you start building that self-confidence and having a voice, and we don't have to match their energy.
100%.
And I think that's what we think we've got to do.
We do.
And I tried to do that at first and it just wasn't me. Yeah. It just wasn't me. And I think we can complement each other in a group like that. I don't think there has to be us all vying for that kind of.
No. Yeah, and people always think it's the men in the room, and it's it's because of them that they've got the airtime. It's because we've stepped back and we're not stepping up as women. Yeah. So to get that back, we've got to step up. It's not men who need to change anything about how they network. They network very, very well. It's us as women who need to step up and take the mic.
You can be an introverted extrovert, and that's what I am.
Same.
That's what I am. Not to put a label on it, but So
love that.
So who's had the biggest influence in your life, would you say?
I've got to say 3 people. Sorry, I'm being greedy.
I love that.
Obviously, my mum and dad just instilling strong work ethic in me. I always had a Saturday job from when I was 14. Yeah. I remember I was working in Bootlestrand in a bakery. And I was my dad used to make me walk there and back. He wouldn't give me a lift. Yeah. And it was like a 30-minute walk there and back. Wow. And then one morning I was really sick. And I said, can you ring in for me, Dad? I'm just not. And he went, no, do it yourself. I'm not doing it for you. And I was too scared to ring that I went in and walked all the way and was sick. I was not an ogre, my dad, but he was teaching me lessons. 100%. And things like if I ever borrowed money off them when I was younger, they'd make me pay it back. Yeah. I had to pay towards the phone bill. Didn't have mobile phones then. I had to pay towards the phone bill. So I'd say my mum and dad instilled strong work ethic. Yeah. My mum is like a dog with a bone. Yeah. Like pushing you, she's really persistent and I love that side in her. So I'd say my mum and dad for giving me strong work ethic of who I am. And then I'd have to then say my husband for giving me that self-belief that I can do it. Yeah. Yeah. And, stop questioning myself and just go for it. Yeah. And I'd have to say him. Yeah. So I'd say they're the 3 people. Yeah.
That's amazing. That is incredible. So what goals are you pursuing right now in business or in personal life that you can share with us?
Do you know when people, I saw that, I saw the question and I thought, do you know what? You think you should have these big, massive goals that you've got to say, And I think that's the pressure when you're in business.
100%.
Yeah. So for me in business, it is about, I think, planning for the future and having financial security. Yeah. And I think when I didn't work for myself, I never thought that far ahead. Yeah. It'd just be, I'm in a pension. I'm in a Where now it is that drive to say, so my goals is to, have stability and security for when I retire. I don't want this huge legacy business. And I think that's important just to backtrack a bit, is when you first start in business as a woman, you feel like you should be saying, oh, I'm going to run a multi-million turnover business. I want 100 staff. I want. And I think early on, if you decide what you want from it and what your goal is from it, and that can change.
Yeah.
But I think we need to take that pressure off ourselves that it all has to be.
Why do we do that? Like, why do we do that? I think it is what you said before about looking at everybody else and thinking we can get to where they're at in like a blink and how easy it must be. And actually, you're spot on. Like,
I think it's the measure of success as well, isn't it? Like
what it means.
You know, success to the outside world looks like a multi-million pound business, doesn't it? You know, but actually, if what you want is success on a £2,000 a month or £3,000 a month wage, you know, to take home and to be able to enjoy with your family without that stress of running a multi-million pound business and earning £10,000 a month but never being able to spend it or go out on with your family, then it's just success and what that's defined by outside and what that looks like inside is different.
I mean, I'm ambitious in that I want my business to grow, and I've got goals, and you know, and I still want that. So definitely that. And then in my personal life, I'm trying to learn Spanish again. And when I say again, I done GCSE, and my husband always laughs and go, you claim you got an A, and then when we're ever away, you can't speak a word of Spanish. And they laugh at me. I think it's a confidence thing again. So I'm trying to learn Spanish again because I want, and that's something for me. So I'm trying to learn Spanish again. So that's my personal goal.
Oh, my kids
we don't
will
often
laugh.
do that, do we?
We went to Spain last year and they still take the absolute Michael out of me because we arrived at this airport really late and I did that complete British thing. Lee had driven to come and get us from the airport. So the airport was huge. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I went over to this security guard fella and I literally said,
I'm quite nervous about this story. I haven't heard it
my
before.
husband, he's driving the car. Where will I meet him? And
Really
Harry,
slow.
who does do like Spanish, and why I used that accent, which was no way Spanish or anything, like they were just all three of them
like a
looking
no
at me
man's
like,
accent.
like what on earth, Mum? So yeah, I 100%. And the fella was like, exit over there.
That's what I do.
Do you know what it was probably like when you were talking?
Harry, leave it now. Leave it.
When you were talking to the kids in the stay and play, like that's how like slowly you have to talk. You're probably just talking as if you were talking to one of the kids.
I should probably have the goal of learning Spanish in my private life, so that next time I have that situation, I can like blow them out the water and say to them, you know, here you go.
Or
Where's
I'll
the car?
start trying to speak in Spanish and then the person just starts speaking in English.
Oh, so rude, isn't it? I am trying my
By the
best
time we've
here.
learned, everyone will just be like fluent English. Yeah, I love that.
Watch this space.
So next podcast you'll be
Hold on.
You'll be
in Spanish and I'll be there going, see?
I love that. Well, please don't tell us this in Spanish because we need to know what
don't.
this
True,
is. The
I'm
tradition.
Come on.
So closing tradition on the show is where we ask our beautiful guests how they make a perfect cup of tea if they were making it. So if you were going into the kitchen making us a brew right now, how would you make it?
So I'll put the tea bag in the cup first and then boil the kettle and then I would pour it in.
That.
Step by step. But I will leave it for a bit on its own.
The tea bag or just with the water in
will
it?
Tea bag,
well,
leave it for a little bit.
I'm down for this bit.
Have a little rummage for a bit.
Yeah.
I have occasionally been known to forget about it and then come back and have to start all over again. Get distracted. But that's
do that as well,
it's different.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say you forgot about it and then drunk it and it like slapped you in the face.
No. Leave it for a little bit. Squash it to the side take it out and then put the milk in.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you're on my team.
Not milk first.
No? What's going on with these people?
All right. What a great podcast.
Because it then goes all milky.
You can't even see a proper colour, can you?
Disgusting.
No.
It's got to be tea bag first. Let it
Let
milk
it have
at
its
the
time. Yeah.
milk at the end.
Yeah. honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
What are these, the milk first crew?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, honestly. Yeah, the tea bag's still in there floating around and then the milk's in there and then they're like trying
Because,
to
you know, if you
around
did
with
it
the
like
colour.
that, Kerry, you wouldn't have to leave it in for that long because...
But it's meant to
but
brew.
yeah, exactly.
The tea bag's meant
Steep,
to brew.
isn't it? Like, I think is the proper
Also,
language.
you can keep your tea bag in the cup, put your water in, keep it in for a little bit, and then add your milk in and just keep checking to make sure that you're getting that perfect colour, and then give it a hug, and then take it out.
No. With you all the
So
way.
your team, Cal.
thank you.
Oh, well done. You got 1 point.
Yeah. This is like the Ant and Dec challenge. You've got like, you're racking it up each.
Except you won't
but
let me
we've
make a digital chart. But you know what? I just might make a digital chart.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, if I was losing, I wouldn't make a
We'll
digital
have to
chart.
have, when we do one of our bigger sessions, when we have all of our guests back on, we're going to have like a divide in the room.
Oh, but you'll be on your
Feral
own
and
with Kerry.
non-feral.
No, you'll be on your own with Kerry and Maggie O'Carroll.
I think that's a great team.
And then
Alex
where would
was
we?
on our
Yeah, but
team
where
as
would
well.
we put?
Alex was, she makes it proper.
Where would we
Yeah.
put the green tears?
Oh, I don't even think they're invited.
No, I think Jill's a green tear.
Only joking. They can all come.
Only joking,
They
Jill.
can all come.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Kerry. You've been an
Thank you.
absolutely amazing guest.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.